They've got the scaling top laner, and they've got a strong bottom laner that they can play through and play around and set up to have some success early.
Yeah, this is something that I'm very excited to see them bust out here for Mad Lions. This works well with that kind of Hecarim like you're talking about, diving in there. Seraphine's one of the best enabling champions you can get. We'll see if it ends up going bot lane. That's where it's been favored recently, but maybe that will end up in Nisqy's hands.
Well, this looks to me a lot, Mark, like some grievous wounds will need to be on the menu, going up against Seraphine healing as well as Hecarim's Spirit of Dread. You said that they gave him some resist. They knocked the healing down a little bit, but Hecarim's healing is still pretty incredible if he's in the middle of a fight, if he's able to get all that vamping done. Let's see how the second half of the draft is going to work here with the bans, because we do have top laner, we do have jungler, and we do have what I am assuming is bottom lane carry drafted for both sides, which means I need to look at support bans, and I need to look at mid lane bans with the LeBlanc and the Swain banned away.
All right, so Swain taken away from the Seraphine Swain combination. This is a disgusting combination that just results in mid-game meatballs that you can't kill.
Yep.
So no surprise to see that one taken out. The Azir did get nerfed, but it was one of Seiya's best champions. He was able to carry quite a bit in playoffs on that champion. He was very clean at it too. Almost always felt like in the right position, getting damage out. So they want to take that away. We'll have to see what else they want to pair with it. Probably not any of these that Unforgiven is hovering, given that they already have Armut's Gnar locked up in the top side.
Yeah, he's hovering the Teemo. He's hovering his trademark Karthus there, a couple of different champions, but it looks like Taliyah going to be the pick instead. How do we feel about this one?
I like it. I mean, this was one of the champions that we were talking about being one of those few that Nisqy played twice. It fits that roaming, pushing play style like you heard the analyst desk wanting them to go back to. It's exactly in that wheelhouse, and Nisqy himself does play it very well, and it puts pressure now on Seiya and Grell to kind of try to control him, because if you don't, Nisqy will take over the game.
He'll take over the game, and he'll set up Elyoya to just be able to rampage through these team fights as well. I've got my eyes on the mid-jungle combinations of both of these teams so much, as we've got Lissandra locked in. I assume this would be Seiya's pick here in the mid lane. Now I still need to see what that support is going to be. Where's the last one at? Isurus, how are we going to finish this bottom lane? What will be paired up with the Misfortune?
They have played a fair amount of Alistar. It does potentially work with this kind of engage, wanting to instantly blow someone up against these Seraphine team comp where you want to finish someone off. Amumu kind of fits that similar idea where you want to go in, you want to kill someone, probably a little bit stronger in lane as well, whereas Alistar does need like level 3 and whatnot.
Plus Amumu and Misfortune together, plus the Ornn. This is the massive AoE team fight wombo combo. If you manage to line all of those up and layer those one over another, it's going to be a bad time for the Mad Lions. But now, what is Mad going to put Kaiser on? Ooh, Leona, I like it.
All right, Leona for Kaiser. He is at his best, I think, on these kind of supports that can go in, engage, pick fights, really make a big impact, and they get him his Leona there to get that one done for him. Really like seeing this for him. It was obviously Nautilus I feel like he's most known for, but the Leona as well as kind of Nautilus, Leona have been the engage champions for a long time now. Will enable Elyoya to be more of a follow-up engage as well. It sometimes feels bad to play Hecarim when you have to be the first one going in.
And I like that a lot, because Hecarim is not a direct tank, he's more of a drain tank. He can't be the one just eating all of that damage at the very beginning, getting bursted down before he's able to heal back up. So I like this composition. How do we feel like this is going to play out early? We've already talked about how Nisqy's going to want to roam around. We've looked at the other side. We know ADD wants to scale. Where are we expected to see these junglers focus on?
Well, so obviously for Elyoya, you still have that little bit of ramp-up time. Some Hecarims actually do get involved early on in the map if they can find a good angle for their E charge to get a knockback away knock, but otherwise it's mostly 6s you're looking at, I think, for kind of both teams a little bit, honestly. Despite the fact that they are going to play very differently, both are actually more teamfight comps than not. The Gnar can split a little bit more than the Ornn and whatnot, but otherwise, you know, Seraphine and Hecarim are very much teamfight champions.
Yeah, they want to group up. They want to be able to have those 5v5s. But we already talked about Ornn, about the Misfortune, about the Amumu. These massive AoE ultis don't feel as good in 1v1s and 2v2s. They want to pile together.
Yeah, so I think it's going to come down a lot for Isurus to be in these objective fights early, get there, get vision control, make the enemy team walk into you, make Mad Lions have to face check, drop you this insane wombo combo, and instantly delete some members of Mad Lions. If you're unable to do that, you miss some of your engage. I expect Mad Lions team comp to actually be very good. It's still team fighting because you have that kind of sustained advantage.
Alrighty, let's rock and roll. We're on to Summoner's Rift for the first time here in the World's 2022 play-ins, and we're already gonna get first blood. 44 seconds in, first blood over to Nisqy.
Oh no, Jelly just face checks Kaiser, gets stunned up. You have the Glacial Augment to make sure it was easy for Mad Lions to collapse on top of him. They get that kill. No summoners blown other than the Ignite on Kaiser. Jelly just kind of accepted his fate there, but it gave Nisqy, as the first blood, able to grab that tier right out the gate. So already Mad Lions feeling very good. EU fans instantly breathe a giant sigh of relief. You're feeling good. First blood in 2022 Worlds.
Jelly gift wrap that one for him, Mark. That is not the start they are looking for. Silver lining, as you said, at least no summoner spells spent there by the Isurus support as he got caught. But man, that is not a good look. Like you said, the tier for Nisqy, just being able to have that stacking from moment zero in the lane. Get that stacked up, get that to the max level that much more quickly.
Latam saying, welcome to Mexico. Have a gift, have a first blood, enjoy your stay, Mad Lions. And like you said, this makes it so annoying to play against Nisqy because if you play Taliyah well, you can theoretically not bump into mana problems. But this allows you to play kind of brain off and spam a lot more through the first couple levels than you ever normally would be able to, given that you're going to start stacking that tier up right away. You have that bit extra base mana as well. So we talk about controlling Nisqy. Giving him extra mana to shove and roam is not what you want.
Exactly. When we think about players wanting to shove, normally just mindlessly spamming the wave is one of the best ways to shove. So it makes things a little bit worrying. Also, remember historically when we saw Amumu first get popular in the bottom lane as a support, as Unforgiven immediately has to flash away. Let's see if they can take this one any further. Kaiser having a flash out there too. Isurus bottom lane, 2v2, gets both flashes.
All right. Jelly kind of making up for the oopsie at level 1, gets both flashes with the double chains from his Q early on. Feels pretty good and puts Mad Lions on the back foot a little bit early on. The Seraphine Leona lane was never really going to win against the MF in shove and early pressure, but that does give you opportunities now potentially. If you can somehow break Seiya out of the mid lane, meet up with Grell, maybe you can start making some dives happen in the bot lane if you're going to have pressure this entire time and no suns.
And the thing that I was going to originally mention is after Amumu got those changes a while back to give his Q2 charges when he found himself initially being played in the support role, Leona was one of those champions that pro players were finding as an answer, because when it came down to just the all-in, I'm going to get you type of fight, Leona came out on top. She's a tankier tank.
Yeah, she's a tankier tank, but unfortunately, MF is a damageer.
That was astute, Mark.
There's some English
I feel like
right
you're
there,
really
brother.
speaking to me here, bud.
You know what I'm saying, man. She's going to do more damage in the early level 1 trade, the double up damage coming through. I think they also hit too, so probably had Strut as well. Or maybe Make It Rain. I have to check. But either way, going to do way more damage than the Seraphine, and that's why ultimately you saw the flashes come out of Mad Lions, just the damage from Gavotto coming through. He has been kind of the X factor, I guess I would say, watching Isurus games. He has some insane team fights, both good and bad. He seems to always be flanking, it feels like, no matter the situation. And he is the one who can sometimes pop off or maybe have a bad team fight, whereas Seiya is the more kind of consistent carrier for them in the mid lane.
Yeah, Gavotto in the LLA regular season got the most MVPs. Well, he tied for him. He got 4 MVP votes, tied up with Boogie and Adi in that count. So definitely the guy who can show up when they need him, but a lot of pressure is going to be on him on that misfortune. We know how much power this champion's ultimate adds to these big skirmishes, adds to these big team fights. So that positioning of his, when he decides to press R, that's going to be clutch.
It's funny that you did that when you're doing the hand animation of the ultimate, but no one can see that. So it was very funny for me, at least, to see the double guns there going off for you. Anyways, for this game right now, nice bit of a freeze here, making it risky for Mad Lions. They do have that one ward, and they don't know, but Grell was camping in the tri-bush, got the reset, though, didn't want to waste any more time. So a little safer for Mad Lions bot lane here, and I think they are some 2 members that have drawn a little bit of the attention for what was going on towards the end of playoffs for Mad Lions. The meta came through, there's that big change, hyper carries being a focus, bot lanes needing to win a lot, and Mad's identity being more about pushing and roaming and team play. Did feel like they struggled a little bit, both Unforgiven and even Kaiser a little bit. I saw him making roams that got him caught out of position, not quite playing at the same level that we all know he can play when he is this world-class support, and hopefully can stabilize from here in this bot lane.
And that's why I like the Seraphine so much for Mad Lions. If you know your bottom laner is not the standout guy on the team, if he's not the superhero, if he's not the carry, then cool, put him on Seraphine. Create this death ball. Make this massive 5v5. And that's another thing that I think is going to be important when we look at compositions and we go through all these games, these 8 games a day in play-ins group stage in this best-of-1 format. Ease of execution on comps. Group up and death ball them, that's a good way to win.
Yeah, and both teams have that option here. We were talking about, despite the champions playing very differently, both being somewhat teamfight identity, Armut not got out of position here. He wants this fight.
We got Ghost versus Ghost. Grell is taken low and Grell is taken out. Armut barely being kept alive. ADD's looking to get him now, but he won't have the damage. It's a disaster for Isurus. A double kill to Elyoya.
Nice collapse from Mad Lions there. Armut starting that one off and having the fancy feat to make sure that ADD could not finish him off when Mad Lions collapsed on top of them. There's that roaming mid-jungle we were talking about. Both Nisqy and Elyoya coming in, catching out the members of Isurus in the river. Now up to a 3-kill advantage, 1,000 gold lead, feeling very good just past 6 minutes into the game.
Man, oh man, the early game has not gone the way that Isurus Gaming was hoping for. That was so close, but still no cigar there in the top side. Ghost on both of the junglers to try to move around, get that extra speed to outplay one another, but it is the Mad Lions coming out on top. Let's take another look at how it went down.
Yeah, you can see the invade was spotted out very early on. They knew that the members of Mad Lions were on the bot side of the map, so Grell thinks he's safe to invade, but the fact that Armut had collapsed from top lane to get the initial cutoff gave Elyoya time to collapse with that Ghost. Like you said, charging in there, you know, it's not just a post-level 6 champion for Hecarim. You can scrap early on. It's just sometimes getting on top of people. But when you already have that kind of setup, very easy for him to get both those killed. Double kill, accelerating the Hecarim. And I think for a lot of people, Elyoya being arguably the best player on Mad Lions, I think for a lot of people between him and Nisqy. And Elyoya is at his best on these kind of farming, scaling, carry champions. He exploded onto the scene with a lot of like tempo-based junglers and whatnot. So this is an incredible start for him in his first game at Worlds this year.
Oh boy, Nisqy just getting all in here as the Ram comes flying through. Nisqy with a flash back to stay alive. Nicely done for the Mad Lions mid laner, but it does cost him both summoner spells to get away from.
This is what they were talking about in the analyst desk, playing around seiya a little bit in the mid lane. Not hard committing to it, but seiya setting that up, getting the initial chunk down to Nisqy, and ADD roaming down from river. Had that threat from the ultimate. I think Nisqy didn't need to flash. It looked like he could have just stepped down, but I like playing safer than not early on at an international competition. Like, yeah, maybe you can just walk down out of that, but just don't be greedy. Learn that flash, stay alive.
I mean, especially in the format for play-ins groups, because the top spot in either group just automatically gets out without having to play a best of 5, and it's just best of 1s that are determining that top spot, the smallest things that can determine a win or loss could end up being the difference between you playing a best of 5 or not, right?
Yeah, absolutely the case. And like we talked about a little bit, Mad Lions playing what should, in theory, be 2 of the easier opponents for them in group stage here on day 1, taking down, hopefully, Isurus for EU fans, and then Istanbul Wildcats later on. A good start right now, and then, you know, have that little bit of momentum as you head into the tougher Eastern teams waiting for them.
You gotta be prepared, gotta get the reps in when you can get them, and Elyoya is going to get that early Rift Herald here for his team just a little bit after 8.5 minutes in, as Kaiser and Unforgiven make their way back into the bottom lane. You can see Unforgiven having that ulti here on the Seraphine. That thing is massive gank assist, and it's really good against Misfortune as well. As soon as she starts channeling, you can fire it back, interrupt her, and take over the fight.
Same with Leona, just dropping your ultimate on top of the MF if she ever tries to channel her ult early on in a fight will be something that to keep your eye on for Kaiser to do. They did get 2 turret plates, though, during that timing window where they were grabbing the Rift Herald for Mad Lions side. They're respectful for Unforgiven and Kaiser, making sure that there was no play available on the weak side, but it did allow some more gold to go into Gavotto's pockets. Now up to 3,300, just a couple hundred gold ahead of the Seraphine.
So we've got dead even farm in bottom lane. About a 1-wave difference with an advantage for seiya there in mid lane, but jungle and top are massive farm leads for the Mad Lions, and Elyoya and Nisqy are looking to keep the focus here on ADD. They know this guy can end up playing that weak side more often than not. They want to punish him for it. A little bit more damage will take him down, and Nisqy gets the kill. seiya's made his way over. Looking to grab the first one. It's Grell getting on the board. Nisqy behind enemy lines with nowhere to go. He'll buy as much time as he can. They want to give the money over to Graves. They want to get Grell rocking and rolling.
All right, 2 kills onto that Graves. Like you said, they were able to get the collapse onto ADD, but he did such a good job kiting that one out. Look how far under the top lane they needed to go to make that happen. Nice usage of the Bellows Breath by ADD to not get the initial flick back that Nisqy did land onto him, that unstoppable, making sure that they had to go deep. And so he's playing very respectful here. They already have to run kind of between the 2 turrets. The fact that this did not actually cut him off, there's no flash on the Ornn, so if they were never able to land that one, he would have been dead much earlier. There you see the Bellows Breath to actually make sure none of the displacements stopped him from walking down to the point where now they're under the inner turret. And then it's bought enough time for the rest of Isurus to collapse. They get that kill onto Armut. They're also going to have Nisqy cut off here. No way out for Grell, who's ghosted up, like you said, to find that kill. Elyoya, the big brain jungle play, though.
Give me some plates.
I'm not saving anyone. I'm getting some gold.
Well, that was a really solid performance there from ADD. Like you said, buying as much time as possible. If I know my top laner is going to be playing scaling weak side, I want him to be doing that. As now Armut finds himself under pressure. ADD going for that point-blank R2, but Armut's there for the outplay. Now Elyoya is coming in, and Grell's the target. Armut building up the Gnar bar, ready to go. Grell continues to kite, but it will not work. Say good night. 2 more kills for the line.
Elyoya had such a nice reset there. The extra gold that he got, getting him Boots 2 and Sunderer on that back from the turret plates. He also did not drop the Rift Herald on that initial push, which gives him the faster recall to not be down tempo on that play. So with the enhanced recall of Rift Herald, he can instantly go back up topside. Back up Armut, who still had flash despite what just happened in the top lane, could have a really nice point-blank flash and now blow open the entire top side of the map, leading to almost a 4,000 gold lead, excuse me.
I think the regular season Mad Lions are here to play, Mark. This squad looks like they're ready to go.
They are jiving. This is exactly Elyoya's meta. If we're going to have these kind of carry junglers going off, you can see him 3-0-2, nearly 100% KP, only missing out on that first blood, which honestly...
Yeah, that was a bit of a meme anyway. Come on, let's...
And you can say that all the plays that actually happened in this game have been kind of involving Elyoya so far.
And I mean, that's what we set up as Mad Lions' game plan, right? They want to have Nisqy being able to support him. They're going to have Armut being able to support him. If Elyoya wants to go, everybody else just says, where are we going? And now we're going mid. Okay, not a whole lot there. I mean, it's Lissandra, but hey.
Hey, they tried. Lissandra, notoriously difficult champion to take advantage of in the mid lane, but does get them prio now. Not any focus onto dragons thus far in the game, with the fact that the bot lane for Mad is not their focal point, but now that they have dropped top turret, swapping their focus down around here. We'll see if Isurus want to contest this.
All right, Isurus, you're down about 3,500 gold. It's just a Cloud Drake. I'm not sure if they really want to go for it. The Drake's already done. Let's see if Kaiser can find the engage. It's Jelly here with the front. He flashes forward, gets the ulti down onto a couple. Massive bullet time on 2. And Isurus get the angle in a 2-for-1. Nisqy gets away. Unforgiven still kicking as well. But nicely played there from Isurus. Nicely engaged by Jelly.
Nice counter engage. It's definitely the case where Mad Lions got that dragon for free. They were pinging out ADD and said, hey, the Ornn's not here. His ultimate wasn't even available. They're looking at this as a 4v4 without the main frontline tool. So they think that they can just brute force through here onto Jelly. But the fact that Gavotto does get charmed here, cleanses it off, gets this full ultimate, no interrupt by Kaiser. So the 2 members on the front line, Hecarim and Leona, get absolutely destroyed by that. Gavotto's going to get a little bit more gold now, starting to get some in his back pockets, bringing that gold lead a lot closer. Bit of a misstep there by Mad Lions, underestimating the power of team fighting for Isurus.
And hey, Isurus closed that 3,500 gold gap to a little bit under 2K there. So that was a pretty big swing in keeping this game within reaching distance, right? It was starting to run away from them a little bit. That pumped the brakes nicely.
And MF is the main carry in this comp. Yes, the Graves will do damage, obviously Lissandra and whatnot, but if anyone wants to be fed, it's going to be the MF. And she's up above 6,000 gold now, only a couple hundred behind Elyoya, the most fed members for Mad Lions. So this is a decent start for them. You can see going for the Kraken Slayer DPS-oriented build. I think a lot of people prefer this over the kind of like pen build with Eclipse or whatever else you might go as a main carry when you're going to frontline to hit. The attack speed buff that Strut gets is absolutely no joke, and you can pump out that damage with the double up kind of auto attack reset that you have.
Plus with the Last Whisper as the second item, he knows he's going to have to shoot through Kaiser. He knows he's going to have to get through this Hecarim in this Gnar. You can already see the winged moonplate in the inventory of Elyoya. Those movement speed tank items are going to start coming out, and the horse is going to get very scary very quick. Gunning through that front line is not just an option, it's going to be a necessity.
Absolutely. And Elyoya, excuse me, you see not going for the tier build where you end up with Muramana that a lot of people go when they're going full carry Hecarim. Yep. They can grab that tier early on. It does grab the Sunder and it's going into tank. So kind of respecting this meatball identity that they're going to have. When you get those resistances, the healing gets even stronger for you. And you can see Isurus, despite that fact, going to try and contest this objective as well, it looks like.
Okay, Mad Lions took the first Herald 8.5 minutes in. Isurus want to see if they can challenge here for this one, but it ain't gonna happen. Where's the follow-up? Unforgiven thrown up into the air, but now they're trying to get themselves back out as Nisqy cuts them off. ADD bangs his head into the wall, and they bang ADD into the ground. Nisqy still throwing out a couple rocks, seeing if there's anything else to find. Seismic shove won't hit a target, but that's Mad Lions getting themselves a herald and getting themselves a kill to boot.
Nisqy giving a target to Isurus, split their focus there. It was a nice interrupt onto Jelly, potentially collapsing from the Ornn ultimate. That was nicely done by Kaiser to stuff any engage. And then once that happens, here we're taking a look at it first. ADD starts this fight off with that ultimate, like we're saying. Jelly wants to get that follow-up, but the ultimate stun there by Kaiser stops any potential massive wombo combo. And once this wall comes in from Nisqy and kind of bisects the team fight, seiya decides, all right, we'll go for him instead, but Nisqy having his flash available is able to get out of there while the rest of his team focuses down ADD, win that fight. Nice execution there, as well as grabbing that Rift Herald, kind of making sure this game didn't slip any further away from them, still in control.
Yeah, and that was kind of the other side of the coin from what we saw at Drake, right? Mad Lions is there. Mad Lions is going to get the objective. Isurus wants to do something about it, but now Nisqy, oh, Nisqy, this isn't where you want to be, buddy. Nice shutdown. Kill credit goes over to seiya.
Yeah, look, we were just saying, lost his flash in that previous team fight. Isurus immediately targeted him down. Seiya getting that lockdown. Big part of the kills so far. Him and Graves, 100% kill participation. And Grell and Seiya, I think you could say, if you hadn't watched, they are the two main, I think, playmakers for this team in a lot of ways. Seiya has, I feel like when I watch him, a little bit of that like Bjergsen syndrome that people sometimes say, oh, well, he could be a bigger playmaker or whatnot, but he's almost always doing the right thing. But that does sometimes draw criticism when the rest of the team is doing crazy stuff and you're kind of that consistent member. He's also the most accomplished mid laner. I think it's 11 titles that he's had across the two leagues when they merged together into the LLA. You know, like, this guy has been at the top of his game for so long. You just expect excellence out of him.
Yeah, he's been playing for an incredibly long amount of time. He's the only player left on this roster from 2021, and his coach describes him as like that X factor that this team would need to be able to get out of play-ins, to be able to fight their way into the main group stage. So he's definitely somebody to keep your eye on if you're an Isurus fan, if you want to see what this team can do. A lot of it will center around him. He has his stopwatch, he has his Everfrost, these incredibly powerful actives that can set him up to make even more plays. Whoa. As Nisqy face checks into the brush, he was not expecting a man with a shotgun. He uses that stopwatch, but it won't do a damn thing. Grell gets the solo.
Man, Isurus really picking on Nisqy now, catching out the LEC MVP in the side lanes twice in a row. This time, ADD was camping long range to maybe set up with his ultimate, but Grell was just so fed, and the fact that he got the wallbang right out the gate there, able to drop Nisqy so low, still no flash, got the stopwatch out of him as well.
And that's one of the scary parts with a champion like Graves. Just because of the way the Q damage works, it's very high because it's very difficult to guarantee. So when you face check that brush and he guarantees it, you're immediately in a losing situation. Isurus are onto the Drake. Remember that Mad Lions took the first one, but they know they're a man down. They know Nisqy is only just now respawning. Even with Weaver's wall, he couldn't get there in time. Mad say discretion is the better part of valor. They don't fight that one.
Damn. Good line right there.
Yeah, I've probably heard it in the book or something, I don't know.
No, you made it up, dude. Someone wrote that Captain Flowers 2022 Worlds broadcast, came up with it. That was really nice by Isurus. The fact that they got that pick, transitioned that down on second dragon, stopped Mad Lions dragon taking. Mad just kind of hovered around bot lane to make sure that Armut could finish off that bot turret. He's kind of silently this game, actually having an incredible performance. 2-1-4, has gotten a lot of solo gold, up about 40 CS. He's that kind of extra little bit of win con that Mad Lions has with this comp is the side lane pressure that they can have. Isurus has done a good job cutting that off with Nisqy, but someone will eventually have to answer Armut.
And once again, Nisqy with a face check there, but he's got backup this time. The hunter has become the hunted, and Grell drops. Elyoya grabbing the kill credit on that one. Nisqy barely getting away with about 100 HP, but it's 100 more than Grell's got now. Dead for the next 20 seconds, 9-6 in favor of the Mad Lions.
It was a cute idea, I think, by Isurus, but underestimating how many members of Mad Lions were showing up there. There was the recall to cover the push by Seiya, gets caught out, and then Nisqy had some backup coming in. Now Elyoya up to 4-1-4, completed that force of nature. Not going to be taking very much damage from Seiya anymore. Probably not from ADD either, but luckily for Isurus, it's Grell and Gavotto who are bringing most of the damage right now.
Yeah, he's got cooldown boots, he's got force of nature, and his mythic is a damage item. So there's no armor at all on this champion. There's no Mountain Drake picked up by Mad Lions either. There's just not going to be any Mountain Drakes in this game for a while until those start spawning here. But The thing that we gotta remember is the Graves, the misfortune. Hecarim walking into a bullet time or a Graves combo, he can still melt. And that's kind of what I'm looking for Isurus to be able to set up and make happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in that dragon fight that Isurus were able to win. We'll see if they can start replicating that. So far, it feels like these fights have been very close. When we saw them, the Rift Herald one, it was better execution by Mad Lions. The Drake fight, a bit of an overstep by Mad Lions. So they've been good about getting these dragons first, except for that one where Nisqy got picked off. I expect them to, with the advantage that they have with side lane in Armut, when they are able to make sure that Isurus is not getting a flank onto Nisqy or something, they should be able to get to these objectives first, I believe. Though Gavotto in the mid lane will have priority mid. It's very hard for the Seraphine to step up and contest that one.
Yeah, that Lord Dominic's Regards second item fully completed now for the Misfortune as well. You can see the Black Cleaver on Armut as a lot of these guys on both sides are hitting those 2-item power spikes. And we talk a lot about gold advantages in League of Legends, but gold is just a pathway to items. And so especially if you're the team that's behind, you want to fight on the same completed item spikes if you can. And right now, it looks like both squads want to posture around mid. Nisqy gets away there as Jelly tried to go in after him.
Yeah, got the interrupt, I think, actually on the Q, so did not end up over the wall for Jelly, but still gets the flash out of Nisqy, which in 2 minutes will still be down when they get to this Drake fight again. Might make him a juicy target for all this engage that Isurus has on their side. Exactly,
and he does not have any sort of an aggro drop. You can see there's no stopwatch, there's no Zhonya's there for Nisqy. He has a cleanse that'll be up, but now ADD, he's playing weak side again. The Ignite keeps ticking, the Solar Flare guarantees the damage. Armut flashing in to get that Q just in case, but it won't even be needed. Tier 2 turret drops here in the bottom lane, and Mad Lions keep pushing.
Yeah, Mad Lions catching Isurus in a bit of a reset there. ADD on the lane by himself. How far can they push this?
Okay, they pop both big ultis of the bottom laners there onto Elyoya. They clear out the wave. They hurt the front line of the Mad Lions. They'll force them back for now.
Nice stem the bleeding there for Isurus. Did not want to lose an inhibitor turret.
No.
Right there. And I still like that play by Mad Lions, getting down, getting onto ADD. You saw how long he lived. He actually played that one fairly well. Almost got out and had to get finished off by kind of a Leona ult snipe.
Yeah.
But because Isurus was just so out of position in the middle of that reset, they couldn't actually punish Mad Lions there. Mad Lions able to get more gold in their back pocket, get this back up close to that 4,000 gold lead that they were at before, heading into the third dragon.
All right, third dragon, 2 big team fighting comps. I feel like being first to the scene is of paramount importance here.
Absolutely the case. I think both teams are very happy to make the other team face check them. They have a lot of lockdown CC, both teams. If you go and try and walk into a Seraphine with the poke and then the charm coming through, forcing you to walk forward, the flickbacks, all that stuff is very scary. Same case for Isurus. You have the Leona, or excuse me, the Misfortune ultimate to combo with Amumu. You can see them still want to keep a little bit of vision onto Baron, not lose it completely, but based off their positioning, the fact that Isurus has all their members up on the top side of the map, you have to think that they're not actually going to contest this. I can understand this thought process. ADD is 2 levels away from starting to turn on his items, so instead they're saying you stay, oh, excuse me, Mad Lions up on the top side trying to get the Baron pressure down.
Mad Lions just going for the Baron. They're saying, all right, you guys had control over that bottom side river. If you want the Drake, take it, but Baron's gonna go our way. Isurus hanging around this area. Baron's at about 6K, Mad Lions pull off of it. It's so dangerous to hard commit to something like this for either one of these comps with the amount of AoE on both sides, but it still means there's Drake alive.
Drake is still alive, but Mad Lions are not backing off the pressure. With the Seraphine in their comp, they can kind of keep posturing around this objective, force Isurus over and over again to have to face check them. They have such good vision control here in the river, but Isurus are kind of calling that bluff, saying, we'll just keep taking turrets if you don't actually commit onto the Baron.
Yeah, Isurus is doing a really good job here, just picking up 2 turrets for free in mid. It's not going to stop them from getting to the Baron in time, you would think. ADD and Jelly still looking for the chance. The Baron's at 3K. Little bit of damage over the wall. Here they go. It's bullet time. ADD gets the first kill. Isurus are going in, but Mad Lions have found themselves the Baron. Elyoya looking for any sort of a chance here as Seiya takes a lot of damage back from Nisqy and Unforgiven, but Elyoya is down. Nisqy and Unforgiven trying to get away. Jelly dies in the back end of the fight as Grell goes forward, looking for even more. He'll take down the enemy mid. He looks for the enemy carry. Unforgiven gets away into the top lane, but Grell and Gavotto are looking
last
for
Baron.
There comes that into the line. Unforgiven's the only one left, and he's gone. Isurus get the ace.
Isurus wipes the Baron off of Mad Lions. It was a last-ditch effort by Elyoya, ulting into the pit to make sure it was not a complete disaster of a play. So greedy by Mad Lions to stack in the pit against this team comp. of Isurus. They get obliterated for it, though the game is not over yet because they were able to get that Baron. Here you can just see, sitting in that pit, such an easy two-man ultimate for the side of Gavotto there to solve them out with Jelly. That forces, you see Elyoya to go ulting back in, get that. There's a couple members killed it right out the gate. ADD dropped as well, but Grell plays this fight so well, just staying in melee range the entire time, stacking up that grit, getting multiple Gore Drinker procs. Jelly giving his life up here to enable that chase down sequence and to actually wipe all these Barons off the side of Mad Lions. Gavotto with that strut coming in clutch, able to back up his homeboy. Grell finding all of these kills, just such an incredible performance on him in this Graves.
And this is a huge reason why he's got Ghost on the Graves too. As you could tell, he was ghosted that entire fight. As he got the resets, as he was able to get those knockouts, he just kept extending the duration, and the hometown crowd is ready to go.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it must feel so good playing on the world stage, acing the European representatives here, the 4th seed, in front of your audience, scaring those crowd cheers behind you now, and the gold lead still about 3,000 in Mad Lions' favor. That Baron being smited by Elyoya. I can't stress enough how important it was, because it's not just the fact that you get a gold lead from it, but also stopping Isurus from continuing to push and then group up with this comp that they have would be so difficult to stop the siege.
So Isurus did get those 2 turrets mid. They did get the ace. They did get themselves the Drake as well. You can see they've got that mountain on them now, so they're going to be a little bit tankier. One thing they got to be careful about, as you can see them backing away from where they were in the bottom lane. ADD's on the other side of the map with no teleport, so they really couldn't afford to get caught out there. They're going to back away for now. We've got 4 minutes until the next Drake and the next Baron are alive, and it's Mad Lions once again pushing out the bottom lane. What do you want to see them do here, Mark?
I like what they're doing right now, just staying aggressive, trying to get vision control and make these kind of pick plays happen. You do have a lot of mobility with Elyoya's speed, with Nisqy's ultimate to try and find people in the side lane. Armut is still very strong, very far ahead of ADD himself, so very possible for Mad Lions in these 3 intervening minutes before they're forced to 5v5 again to look for pickoffs. Isurus has done a good job themselves of finding angles onto these, Nisqy in particular, whenever he splits. So for them, though, I do still kind of go back to that scaling angle we're talking about. ADD is hitting those Masterwork Ornn items now. This is going to make them even scarier in the 5v5s as they continue to scale up. So I do think Isurus, I understand you are down gold, playing on the back foot a little bit here, trying to make sure that Mad Lions is walking over your wards, that you're seeing them coming, then you can stop the bleeding in these kind of side lane plays.
And I'm glad you bring up the Masterwork items, because if you're looking at Drakes, if you're looking at Masterwork items, post-Drake buffs, and of course in the modern age of Mythic items after the whole rework to how Ornn worked, every single Drake is worth about 1,000 gold in stats for the team. Every single Masterwork item is going to give you about 1,000 gold worth of stats. So when you're at +1 Drake and +1 Masterwork item, hey, that's plus 2k. All of a sudden, the game feels really, really close, and it could go either way. I'm really impressed with what I've seen from Isurus here, staying close with the Mad Lions.
Yeah, it's super impressive to see them, the representatives from the LLA, going toe-to-toe with Mad Lions so far this game. A lot of these team fights have been huge ultimates by Gavotto. I think he's having an incredible performance, like you said, one of the most important members of this team. I think going forward, Mad Lions have to find a way to shut him down in these team fights. It's been a couple uninterrupted misfortune ults right at the beginning. I think you do have to give Jelly some credit for locking down Kaiser or forcing him to use his ultimate in other ways to stop him from instantly stopping Gavotto's ultimate, but that's something that Mad Lions will have to do a better job of, is stop getting put in these positions where they're up against the wall or their engage is getting stuffed and then they're getting counter-engaged on.
We're hitting big 3-item spikes all over the place, Mr. Zimmerman. We got an Infinity Edge for Gavotto. We've got a Void Staff for Seiya. Both of these guys, by the way, still no deaths throughout the whole game.
They're looking really good, the 2 primary carries of Isurus. Like I was saying, Seiya is someone who, when I was watching, I was just so impressed with his positioning. Almost never caught out, never not able to do damage, always contributing positively in team fights. And I think he is, you know, for a reason, one of the best players in Latin American history. He's absolutely incredible and in a position right now to continue carrying with the Zhonya's completed, with the Everfrost, and just so many lockdown tools available for the Lissandra can win these fights for them.
Oh. Let's see, we got Ghost versus Ghost here. Elyoya going in after Grell.
ADD's out.
He's gonna have all of the Mad Lions coming up behind him. ADD's saying, all right, dude, you're on your own. There's no way I'm gonna save you here. Grell trying to just continue the 1v1 against this horse. Normally that's a matchup a shotgun's gonna win, but it's looking a little rough here. Elyoya has to back away. Holy moly, Grell's trying to fight him off. Elyoya getting another devastating charge, comes in. Grell staying alive still. He's bought so much time, but the space isn't gonna get him a whole whole lot more. And finally, the Mad Lions run him down.
Almost 1v3 by Grell there, stacking up the grip, making sure that Elyoya's damage was not that significant, given that he did not go that Muramana build and could kite out the magic damage from the rest of Mad Lions there. I wonder if ADD stuck around, if they could have turned that. There were multiple members of Mad Lions who kind of pulled off that play and assumed the 3 people up there were enough, so maybe it would have been 2 kills going over. But either way, Grell bought enough time. That's always the scary thing when it's your jungler getting caught out, is giving the Baron and force Elyoya back, but Mad Lions still want to force on top of this after the reset.
Yeah, I love the fact that Mad Lions are at least going to start this up. They're going to force Isurus to come answer. They know they have a 5v4 for the next 10 seconds, and the 4 is missing a jungler. There's no chance for a steal. Great Baron take from Mad Lions.
Okay, I thought Isurus, with how strong their team fight is in this situation, maybe could still force it, but I understand without Grell there, that extremely fed member on their team did not actually want to take that risk, so they just seed the Baron over. That pickoff does come through, taking out the enemy jungler, gives Mad Lions a window for their second Baron of the game.
Mad Lions getting a big bonus with that one. I also want to draw your attention over to Armut, who is now almost 100 CS above his opponent. He has 3 fully completed items, working on that 4th. This Gnar could very easily be an X factor, especially in a river fight on a mountain rift. Let's see how this Drake fight goes down. Scuttle Crab, the initial focus here from the side of Isurus. They'll secure that one for themselves. Look at Armut. Look at how charged up the bar is. He's ready to come in on the flank, but ADD's gonna mark him, keep him zoned out. Mad Lions still keeping the aggro here on the Drake itself. Nisqy throws the Weaver's wall through, tries to cut Isurus off from one another. Jelly goes in. Where's the follow-up? Kaiser's gonna be caught here in the front, but Gavotto is finally pressured as Elyoya goes into the back line. Jelly dies first. Unforgiven taking the kill on that one as Armut is causing a ruckus in the back as ADD looks to finish him off. It's already 3 dead on Isurus. It's a double kill back over to Nisqy. The Mad Lions roar to life, and Grell can't do anything about it. ADD, the last man standing. Run, Ornn, run!
You see if he can get away, but at this point, Mad Lions found that back-breaking fight they needed. Armut's going to be left to stop ADD from getting off any sort of recall. Will get the teleport through. I don't think Armut has enough damage to stop that one.
Nope.
But the rest of Mad Lions have already turned to the mid lane, winning that fight, breaking it up, not giving Isurus an easy single target to wipe off the map. They had made such a chaotic situation there that they could not actually finish off any of the members of Mad Lions. They grabbed that turret. Now they're going to grab this dragon to stop the stacking for the side of Isurus, getting that gold lead up much higher now.
That gold lead is 7,000 for the Mad Lions. They finally stopped Gavotto. They finally threw a wrench in the gears of the AoE teamfight machine, and Mad Lions seems to have it figured out.
Yeah, you want this kind of instant burst by the side of Isurus, but you see Seiya trying to get on top of Unforgiven, gets a lot of damage down, but the MF ult is just a little too short to actually hit Unforgiven. Doesn't finish off Kaiser, can't finish him off. On the backside of the fight, Armut, like you were saying, keeping Gavotto busy this entire time. Seiya was also getting pinged down by Nisqy because he was not able to finish off Unforgiven, so they were just not able to find any one of these targets. Grell also not really in a position to contribute the way that he had in the previous team fights running forward. You can see he's still a force to be reckoned with, but without the rest of the early kills coming through, the sustained damage available, the shielding, the healing, all the things that the Seraphine can do is just too much.
All right, so what do we want to see Mad Lions do now? As real quick, I do want to touch on this graph because it's Grell, the standout damage chart topper of the entire game, but overall higher values for the Mad Lions as a team. Their Baron's expiring. How do they close this one out quick and clean?
I think that they're eventually going to go back to another Baron setup. They've done a very good job at those, aside from that first one where they all ended up in the pit, but I think they know better than that this time around, actually have to commit to a turn and finding someone. I also got to say, just Armut is so insanely far ahead. If you look at the gold, he's over 5,000 gold ahead, just getting his Flame Horizon online now. Will continue getting further and further ahead of ADD. No one can stop him 1v1 in the side lane. And so you also have that in your back pocket as well, is that when you do start doing these Baron setups, you don't need to full commit to it. You can just pressure them and buy space for Armut to work 1v1 down on enemies in the side lane. He's already level 18, highest level in the game. No one else is really close. Nisqy, I guess, at 17 is the only other one on their side, but ADD 3 levels down.
And one of the big things I'm looking at here, 4-item power spikes. They're online for Mad Lions. You've got the Force of Nature there for Armut. You've got the Rabadon's Death Cap for Nisqy. Even in the Seraphine inventory, Cosmic Drive, Void Staff, Seraphs, they've got a big advantage over Isurus right now, who are still sitting on components for those 4th items in most positions. I'm looking to see Mad continue to keep the pressure online.
Yeah, I like this. They're hovering around mid. They're keeping them forced there while Armut has the pressure in the bot lane. Keeping Isurus confined to their base, no way to push out and get wards in advance of whenever the Dragon and the Baron come up. Both of them respawning at around the exact same time, 2.5 minutes out basically for both of them. But with how much pressure Mad have, there's no way for Isurus to set up, get wards for TP flanks if seiya wants to try and come in from the backside of a team fight. And because he's the only one with the strength to really contest Armut, that means that one of your biggest damage dealers and setup for CC and engage won't be there. Yes, ADD, if he's the one grouped with your team, has plenty of engage as an Ornn, but it's not quite the same backline threat that seiya could bring if he was the one who was grouped with your team.
Alrighty, my friend, we have some troubling waters here for Isurus. They've put up a really good fight so far, but honestly, just the past couple of fights from the Mad Lions have been such different makers. I feel like the game's just been blown wide open. It's pretty hard for Mad to lose from this point.
Yeah, Mad are looking good, but I gotta say, this is an absolute banger for a first game of Worlds. The hosts in Latin America, Mexico City, Isurus Gaming going up toe-to-toe with Mad Lions. They're on the back foot now, but I think keeping this game closer than a lot of people were expecting, myself included. I thought Mad Lions, especially with the early kills that they got in the game, would just run away with this one, but showing a lot of toughness from Isurus here, but will be very difficult to actually come back from here with the amount of control that Mad Lions have.
Yeah, we remember back, to the start of the game. It was Jelly, the free kill at 44 seconds into the game. It was the 2-for-0 in top, where Armut just barely lived kiting him out. Mad Lions had a great start. Isurus was able to strike back well in some of those team fights, and I think some of that was Mad Lions' overconfidence as well, giving Isurus some moments where they were able to really show up and punish them. But now, Mad Lions has learned, okay, these guys aren't pushovers. We got to respect them. We can't just give them freebies. And they're playing in a way that's forcing Isurus to have to not get those setups they're looking for. They're playing in a way where they can push back and punish.
Alrighty, well, Baron is spawned now. It looks like there's a bit of a disjoint between the graphic and this. We're actually going to get it for free now for Mad Lions with this wall by Nisqy.
Okay, Nisqy just blocks everybody off. It's so hard to get in there. The Baron is secured. Mad Lions got it. Where's the rest of the fight? Jelly wants to lead the way. The bullet time ain't going to do a whole lot, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Both supports are down. ADD stuck in the front. Elyoya cuts him to pieces. And now the rest of Isurus got to try to get themselves away. Elyoya flies at him like a bat out of hell. And there's no way out for Grell and Gavotto. Grell will continue trying to get away from that one, but the horse is a horse, of course, and there's another one, Gavotto, the only one left, but he won't be such for long. Armut can deal with him, no problem. Save the Gnar ulti just for style.
Yeah, gets the last kill there onto Gavotto. Armut has come alive in these last 2 team fights, making it hell for the AD carry of Isurus, and Mad Lions should be able to close the game out from here with 2 nice Baron setups, absolutely clinical in that last one, making for sure that Isurus had to run right into them. Mad Lions get their first win of Worlds.
It was a fun first game with the hometown champs going up against the LEC 4th seed, but the Mad Lions proved too ferocious, and they will take the first win of Worlds 2022.
Looking very good there. Elyoya 7-2-10. Got so fed this game, was an absolute force. Nisqy, despite some early game struggles when he started getting picked off from the sidelines, 8-4-8, had some really nice Weaver's Walls at the end to make sure that these fights were very difficult for Isurus to finish off, and there you go. A nice start